Hi guys, it's Lou. And we have a special guest. We have Zachary. Woo!
What's up, Zach?
What's going on?
Welcome to the show.
What do you think? Are you excited?
I don't know how to feel.
What?
I feel like this is the first time I actually feel happy
You do? You feel
out of my
happy?
whole day.
Okay, well see, he's happy and we like that. When Zach is happy, we're happy.
And we also have Steve.
That's Steve, my
Yay!
co-host Steve.
And there's Steve.
It's all about Zach right now.
It's all about Zach right now.
Yeah, 'cause
Zachary. Hey, man, we're stoked to have you on the show. I think it's gonna be great to listen to your experience and kind of get some of the juice from you.
What do you think?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah? All right.
So what are we talking about tonight, Lou? What's on the agenda for our
Alrighty.
viewers?
So, viewers, today it's something that really touches my heart, and probably a lot of parents out there. When you have a child that has ADHD, how do you deal with that child? As parents, we could speak, right, from our experience, but does anybody ever ask the child how they feel?
So that is what it's all about tonight.
Yes.
So what I'm hoping to do, my job is I like to tell everybody a little bit about what ADHD actually is, and then we're gonna hear, what it's like from a person who has ADHD, right?
Yes,
From
let's
his
do it.
experience. So tonight, Zach's the expert, but I'll kind of lead the way if you don't mind, Lou, and
Absolutely.
just sort of say what it is.
Lead the way.
Okay, so
Steve.
for those of you guys that are out there that are interested, have heard the term ADD or heard the term ADHD, it means attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Correct.
So a lot of people don't know what that actually is, and so I'll just tell you. So first, it's a neurologic issue or it's a brain issue. So this is different than someone who's, let's say, they're just depressed because their grandmother died or they're anxious because they're going to ask the boss for a raise. This is actually a different kind of brain, a brain that just operates a little bit different than the non-ADHD brain. So there's three types. So there's, I'll say it again, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So you can have this condition with just focus issues. Sometimes I meet people who they're not necessarily hyperactive at all. They just have a hard time focusing, right? And you can have that. That's just called the inattentive type. Or you can have the other type, which is called hyperactivity, which means you're a little bit fidgety. You're having a hard time just kind of sitting still. You want to move around a lot, or you need to get up and drink water or go to the bathroom. Hard to sit still. And that's called hyperactivity. And then there's some people who have what's called combined type, which means they have both. So tonight we're going to talk to Zach and ask him questions about what that experience is actually like. I can talk a little bit about different treatment options along the way, but I don't want to bore you guys with all this kind of boring science stuff. I'd rather just kind of dig in there and talk to the man about his own experience.
Yes.
So, would you like to begin with questions, or shall I? Or
Well, let's see. You're already on the roll. I like
I
it.
guess I am on a roll.
You got this.
You know, I let
You
loose
got
on
it.
this show.
That's right. I love it when he lets loose.
So, Zach, do you want to start by just telling us what it's like, or would you prefer that I just kind of ask you questions about it?
Ask me questions or just whichever.
Okay, but can you do me a favor? Can you reach over to the microphone and speak a little louder so our viewers can hear exactly what you go through?
So, Zach, would you say that your ADHD makes it harder to pay attention, or do you find that you're kind of your body's a little hyperactive, or do you have both?
I have both. So it's a little more difficult. Um, like if you start school and stuff, like you're a kid and you have it, you have both. And like you're just already used to like not being able to focus and moving around, not sitting still. Going on medication for it makes you feel uneasy because it's like, oh, this is a different feeling. I don't like the way this feels, like because it's like calming you down.
Can you break down how you feel when you take the medication? Do you know first of all the type of medication that you take? Do you know the
I
name?
keep forgetting the name because I don't pay too much attention to it. But
Is that part of the ADHD?
I just don't. I don't know actually.
Maybe so.
But
So this is a
So,
pill
Zach,
form.
you were saying that you have both,
Mhm.
and and you were saying that one of the treatment options is medicine, and that for you, you were saying it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable. Tell us a little bit more about your experience with the medicine and feeling uncomfortable.
Like step by step.
Like, one is like for me, it helps me focus on one thing. So whatever, like my mind is like mainly on, it just sticks on that. For some reason, it won't even stick put me like anywhere towards food, so I won't really eat or drink all day. But that's for me. I don't know about anyone else,
Mhm.
but I get headaches from it. And like tiredness, like in PE, it just feels weird because I'm trying to like do good and put my energy, but then it makes me like calm, so it's like not a good mix.
Hmm. So when you say that it helps you focus, do you actually do your work or do you zone out? Like when you say focus, focus how? Like are you I don't want to use the word zombied out, but
I think that's because like they're just somewhere else. I think if you zombie it out,
hmm.
So, like, you're kind of saying the medicine makes me focus, but at the same time, I'm not hungry. At the same time, I'll get a headache. At the same time, like, there'll be PE, and I want to have energy to like do the activity, but I just have less.
And sometimes when I do pick him up from school, like it kills me because he hasn't eaten all day. And I'll be like, "What do you want me to get you something to eat?" He's like, "No, I'm just thirsty. I just want to go home. I have a headache." And and this is actually something that we battle at home, but it's hard because you also understand when we're at home, he's like off the walls, without the medication, he becomes a whole different breed. And it's so sad because when he's on the medication, he's so calm. Like he listens. He's like, "Yes, Nani. Okay, Nani. Right now, Nani." And it's like once the medicine wears off, it becomes a total different child. But
that
it's
was when I was like in
What's that like for
elementary,
you, Zach? Do you can you feel that change?
definitely. But
What's that like for you?
I don't really know how to say it.
that's okay.
I have
Just
a bad
express.
thing. I have a like bad way of explaining things.
That's okay.
Still,
Express yourself how you can. Like,
I'm
what's the
lost.
transition between your medication and falling off your medication?
But one is like for me, since I don't really eat with it on. Once like it starts wearing off, my stomach starts to hurt more, my head starts to hurt more. Um, then I just get really, really, really hungry.
Mhm.
And like, cause like when I go to my dad's house, I'm not on my medication at all. So I eat like a lot over there, like almost 5 meals a day
Mm,
Mm.
with a bunch of
mm.
snacks.
Wow.
So
I'm
it
gonna have to call you
affects,
chunks.
yeah.
So you can really feel the difference in your appetite. Like when you're on the medicine, it pretty much zeroes out, and when you're off of it, it really comes back.
Is it? Isn't there a medication called Adderall
Yep, Adderall
and
is one of them.
for ADHD?
Yep.
Because there's a lot of moms that were using it in order to function when they have 3, 4 thousand kids, and because it also suppressed their hunger,
Right.
because they were actually using that.
Well, we'll do a little kind of movie preview, a little interruption with
Mhm.
some of the medications. So I'll just sort of
Yeah.
say this. What was really interesting is,
Mhm.
so ADHD is a different type of brain, and the medications that they use to treat it are called psychostimulants. So
Mm.
these are things like Adderall, Vyvanse, Ritalin. There's a number of different ones. These are some of the big three you've probably heard of. And what they do in the brain is for a person with ADHD, it actually causes what Zach's describing. It kind of causes this kind of calmness and this focus. But if it were given to someone who does not have that kind of brain, like this mom you're talking about, it would give her a lot of extra energy,
Mhm.
and it would have like an amphetamine sort of effect because it actually is in that family of medication. So
Oh.
an Adderall different than, let's say, Vyvanse
Mhm.
or
So
Ritalin,
is it an
or
upper or
it's an
downer?
upper. It's an
Ah, okay.
upper.
So it's like phentermine.
Yeah, so Adderall, there are some people who actually will like crush it up and snort it. Like they'll actually want to look for it and get high on it.
What?
Yeah. But for a person with ADHD,
Mhm.
it has this unusual opposite effect.
So is that, I wonder, because when you consume it, it's a time release, maybe? Maybe because it's time released?
My guess is some of them have a time release on them,
Mhm.
but like Adderall, for example, I know has a in its chemistry has a little bit of a feel good to it. Like people
Mm.
aren't going to do that with Vyvanse. They're going to do that with Adderall. So there are those stories of the soccer moms out there
Totally. I've been witness to a
who
lot of them.
who will do that because it gives them this
Yeah.
extra kick, which is
Yeah.
different than like what would like Zach. That wouldn't happen, right? He's
Yeah.
telling you like it causes me to kind of calm down and be really focused and more tired. Somebody else, it gives them a lot of
A pep.
yeah.
That's what I like really liked about like my lifestyle when I was in elementary, like third, mainly third and fourth grade, because she knows like me and my uncle Tui, we were both put into sports. So like the good thing about that was off my medication, I need something to do something that I like and enjoyed um doing, and it also like let me use my energy that way when I go home I can just eat and then just relax, go to bed, and then that's it. So
Zach, what was that back in the day? What was that activity that you were doing that you liked?
basketball,
Mhm.
love basketball.
I
I
had
heard
them
you
both on
said that too.
basketball.
Yeah, it was my favorite sport.
I love it a lot. It's fun to play. I like to play it at school too. It's just like it's really fun and it catches my attention by a lot.
But you could still play that, and you could ask your mom to actually put you, in up at Peck Park, or somewhere that they have courses. I mean, you still can, if that's something that you love and you have a passion. All it is asking, or ask me, or ask your mom. We'll take you.
Do you miss playing?
Kind of, and I say that because like I also used to do like flag football and soccer. I say kinda. I loved flag football and basketball. I loved soccer. I was pretty good at it. I just didn't like the shin guards because they were like so itchy with the socks on and then with the grass. So it just bothered me. And with a kid with ADHD, you're just focusing on that and
Right,
it's annoying.
right.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Zach, when you were playing basketball and flag football, do you remember if you felt happier in your
Oh,
life or do you feel kind of
I
like
felt alive. I like with flag football practice was like I forgot what time it started, but it ends till 6. So like you're just outside cold. You wouldn't even feel it though, because of how long you've been practicing in the cold. Go home, take a warm shower, and you just get like those chills that feel good.
mhm,
I liked it a lot.
So
mhm.
what stops you now from asking your mom, "Hey, can you put me in this sport? Mom, can you, help me out?" Like, or even at school. I mean, it's as easy as just trying out. You can do that. You know that, right?
It's just like one is I messed up my thumb. I forgot how, but I messed it up in school, and then like we went to PE. I wanted to play basketball, and I tried to shoot, and my thumb just starts to like hurt, like a cramp, but not really.
And
And
it could be the medicine too that cramps your
it
muscles.
doesn't do
No.
that. Oh
Mm.
no, it's just me being stiff, but I don't know what happened with that. And then another thing was I was at my dad's just like relaxing all day. And I felt too lazy, so I'm like, I'm gonna go outside, ride my skateboard. Um, so I just did like a couple of rounds around the area, like I always do. And at one point, I just felt a pain in my back, and I ended up when I went to the doctors, they told me I tore a muscle.
Oh. Mm.
I like hearing you say though that it was a fun period of time and you were happy and you were using your body and it felt good. Like I like that kind of like I felt that when you're like I had that kind of cool chill in my arms like after like practicing. And one of the things I've come to know, I don't think this is gonna blow anybody's brains out, but boys versus girls, we have energy, but boys need to
Oh
really
yes.
move it around. Like what I found, like I needed to be climbing in trees and playing sports and like running and biking and going to the beach and really using my body because I had a lot of energy. And I find that like I think not that girls aren't that way, but I think it's easier for girls to like kind of sit and
Or they
kind of
have
be
softer bodies. They have softer bodies. They're not built like boys. And and it's true. You know, what's sad is that they have taken away our backyards for our children because everything's concrete jungle now.
Right. That's right.
And
Right.
they maximize any land that you have, and so where are the kids supposed to play? Where?
Well, it's really hard on the boys, right?
Especially for boys.
I think one of the things that's really, really a shame is the way that we have it set up with schools is you put these boys in a classroom and they have to sit still
Mhm.
for a long time and act right and learn the information, right? And it's asking a lot. I think it's really a shame that they don't have these playgrounds and that the recesses aren't longer and the lunches aren't longer so that they can really move their body the way that it's intended to.
And the
So that
worst.
like they come in and have used enough
Well,
energy to sit and be able to kind of go, all right, I'm ready to do
Yes.
something different
Which all
now.
that is so important for the
Is
child.
that how has that been for you, dude? Is that a thing for you?
what?
Like having these shorter opportunities, like shorter lunches, shorter recesses to like move around? Does it bother
I
you
feel
that you
like
have to sit still so long?
not really, and kind of. It's like, because I was gonna say, I feel like that's what like elementary is. Like, you have recess, breakfast, and snack time, and lunch, and then like in middle school, um, it gets replaced with PE, and then in high school, it's the same way, same thing with PE, but you have a choice on whether to play a sport or not. And at the same time, to play that sport, I feel like it's so for all schools, but for me, it's like you have to have good grades
Mm,
in order to
to play.
just keep on playing that sport. So it's also like motivating you if you want to play the sport because you love it and you like it. You have to have good grades for it. So motivation for both.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
So,
right.
do
That's
you think that signing up for basketball with the school would motivate you to do better in school?
Yes, and
You
I had
think
to
so?
talk about that with Nina,
Uh-huh.
because I also want something to do to keep me
Yes.
active with my ADHD.
So, you could request that for your PE election, right? Um, right? Your
I think so.
Mhm. So you could do that for next year. Your elective. Your elective.
I chose a guitar, I think,
Oh, geez.
and then
Okay. All
at least
right.
I know how to play the guitar.
That'll
Yes.
be fun too.
But it won't be the basketball where you get the chills after you take a shower and you sit there and you know all the shoots that you did and all the running
I
and
did, see, I did really really good when I played those sports. I'm proud of myself, honestly, and it just is like gets me like, "Oh, I stopped playing. I messed up. I could have kept on playing and gotten better."
well, it's not too late.
Yeah, you could pop back into the sport and start kind of getting good at it again, you know.
So I have a question, Chunks. If you feel comfortable with answering it, with your ADHD being on the medication, how do you feel with that going to school with your peers? How is that?
Huh?
So on your when you take, you're on medication or when you're off medication, do your classmates see the difference?
No, because at school I actually act like as if I wasn't on it. So
Mm.
I just act like myself. The only thing about the medication at school is just not really eating and focusing that it has control of. That's it.
I have like a couple of questions. What do you find like the hardest part or most frustrating about having ADHD?
Not being able to sit still, it's uncomfortable and it just doesn't feel right for me. It's just weird.
Mhm. What have you found to be the most frustrating thing that people just don't understand about ADHD or that your family or people don't understand about ADHD?
Um, it's hard to learn than other people. So it takes like a certain amount of time to learn that thing than
Mhm.
other people. But
Except a
you
subject.
but you do end up getting it. And the good thing about ADHD is like a power. Once you understand that one subject, you can just do the whole thing like it's nothing, right? After just a
Mhm.
little bit that you understand, just
Mhm.
ace it like nothing.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with that. I'll just for those of you guys out there, I'm a product of that. So I was diagnosed ADHD as a kid.
Mm.
I was on Ritalin. I had a combined diagnosis of hyperactivity and inattention, and I had to do what Zach's describing and like figure that out. And one of the things that I found hard was people misunderstood that and thought I was like slow or dumb. But really, it wasn't that. It was just like what Zach's saying is it just took me a little bit longer to learn things.
Is it because
But
you're
then once I learned it,
yeah, you
I
got it,
really
you
knew it.
absorbed it.
I really knew it.
So I feel like I mean, I was never diagnosed with ADHD, but my mom says that I was just a crazy wild child. She
I think that might have just been you. I don't know.
it's still probably me, but anyways,
You know how she is.
yeah. But
And she thought you were a pretty wild kid.
oh yeah, crazy wild. Yes, I just could never stay still. But you wonder like back then, did they have medication? Would could had it prevented me from being crazier out there, in school and because I mean, I did good in school, but if I wasn't interested, I just wasn't interested.
Mm,
And so like I was like, I'm not interested. But the funny thing is that when the teachers would make like, deals like, okay, well, if you just pass your test, we'll get you through it. So I would just pass all my tests. So I would subconsciously like prepare myself. But I felt like everything was always fast. Like I couldn't catch up to everything.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Hey, what do you think of this, Zach? I like what you're saying. Isn't it true? I think one of the things that you said that's super true is if you're not interested, you're not interested.
Hmm.
Right. And like we all have to like, there's certain things like I was not interested in math and I had to figure out how to be interested
Oh,
enough.
that's
You know what I mean?
hard.
Like,
Yes.
how do you be interested? Like, even if you're not ADHD, right? How do you
For
like
me, it was
make a
government.
kid interested enough to even just do the thing that's so uninteresting to them? So that's a kind of a question to you, Zach. Like, have you discovered how to get yourself interested enough in doing the thing that you're like, I really don't want to do this. I don't like it at all. It's the boringest thing ever. Like, how do you do it?
I have to like it.
But how do you get yourself to
But,
like
yeah,
the
Well, like I
subject?
find something that I enjoy out of it, like science
Mhm.
and space, and then like learning about sicknesses, medication. That really caught my attention because I take medication. How like I don't,
See,
so are you saying like, let's say like the person thinks science is really boring. What you've done is like, well, find a part of science that's interesting to kind of get interested in doing it. Is that what you're saying?
hmm.
like one thing I try to like use to motivate myself with algebra was how I did last year in 8th grade in math, but I forgot because all I remember and like my 8th grade math teacher, really nice teacher. Everyone loved her. Um, I just did the work, and the craziest thing was like I had a C that went to a D, about to go to an F, and I just started doing all the work, all of it, like nothing.
Hmm.
I ended up having an A in that class, and then
How
like
did that feel?
I felt great because like I would go online on my Chromebook, I'd look at the percentage, it'd be 100, it'd be over. My percentage is over 100 for how much work I've caught up on.
What do you
Wow.
think about this, Zach? I'm curious to know. This again, like, I'm gonna speak in
Yes.
generalities. One of the
Yes.
things I think is really important for boys, especially. Again, nothing against the girls, but like I think boys are primed for competition. Like there's something about I want to compete and I want to outdo my opponent or I want to win, right? And sometimes that opponent's myself,
Mhm.
right? Like you said, like in 8th grade, I did this, and then I kind of it sounds like you were competing against yourself of like, can I do better next year and
That
beat the record? And
that
then you did, like you competed and you got an A, and you're like, this feels good.
that's what I did in 8th grade. I competed against myself from 7th grade. I passed that class, I think, with a B or a C in 7th grade. So eighth, I completely killed it. I had
Right.
like over an A, I believe. So how much work I managed to do and catch up on.
Right. So hear this, right? So
Yes.
Sorry to
No,
interrupt
no,
you.
no, you're okay.
So check this out. Most people who are ADHD
Mhm.
happen to be male. There are females that have ADHD, but there's a lesser percentage,
Mm.
right? And so some of the gold might be if you're a parent and you're watching this and you're like wondering, how do I parent my kid? It's probably a boy. How do I love this kid and help
Patience.
him
It's
get
all
better?
about patience.
Is one of the things that Zach is saying is like maybe finding that way to kind of compete against yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
I want to beat my record, right? I want to see if I can outdo my last year, right? Is that would that be a thing? Like, what if
Like
you
that's one thing I like doing in games. So that's why I like to look at school sometimes as like a game. Like I have a record on a game. I want to
want to beat the
do
record?
better to see, like to show myself. Oh, I can. I'm getting better.
Mhm.
So I'll do like school. Like, oh, if I can do this, I want to try to do more.
Hmm.
That way, I know I'm getting better.
Mm. So can we
Personal
that
competition.
yeah, that is good. So me quick question. How were your grades this year?
Bad.
Yeah. Why do you think they were bad?
I'm not too sure. Oh, it's because I did. Oh no, I did the work.
Mhm.
I just didn't turn them in because, like for biology,
Mhm.
we kept getting papers on paper, so I was getting all confused.
Mm.
It was about the same thing, but it was like
See, and I
different.
think that's what happens. I think when he gets home and his medication starts to wear off, then he starts to lose control. Like, and he doesn't want to sit there and deal with it. Like he lost interest. So I think that that's hard because like I really I really feel like I'm against like schools sending homework because when the kids are at home, as a parent, you'll know as your daughter gets older, but if you're a parent that has to work 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, last thing you want to do is come home and then do homework that you don't even know yourself.
Right.
Because you haven't been in school for how many years, right?
Right. Right.
Like for an example, math is completely different than what it was in my days.
Hmm.
Sure.
Completely different.
It's more advanced, isn't it?
I don't think it's advanced. I think it's the formula that they
You're also
use.
just not using it, right? Unless you're like really like some engineer that's using these
I feel
formulas,
like math is
you just
it's
haven't done that in a long time. So to
Exactly, like,
remember
how
it
often
and
do
then
we
teach your
use it?
kid to do it's hard, let alone maybe a kid who has ADHD. It's hard.
Exactly.
it's like the one thing my teacher told me in eighth grade was like what we were learning in math class was what was actually gonna help us in life when like we try to get jobs, which was true because like I've like looked into it and it's like the things we learned. You need those for a job, like as counting money,
Yes,
dividing,
and
and
they
all that
don't teach
stuff.
that no more.
And
They
the
Yeah,
thing, oh sorry, the
no, go
thing
ahead.
about eighth grade math is it prepared me for algebra, but the teacher like one thing I don't really like is how you have to turn everything in online.
Mhm.
Like when you can like I like how you can just turn it in on in
Mhm.
person.
Yeah. I want to review a few things just because I think there's a lot of kind
Yeah.
of gold here that the three of us have kind of found that I want like the viewers to hear, and then I want to kind of build on something that I'm hearing, Zach. So one is I think that's important, and Zach's saying it, we're saying it as important to use your body, right? Important to like use your energy and exercise,
Mhm.
right? It's important to kind of like maybe do a sport, something that like kind of stimulates personal competition, right? Being able to compete, something that
Correct.
creates interest,
Mhm.
right? So that you can like practice like figuring out how to be interested, like kind of what Zach was saying. Like I didn't necessarily like science, but I found different areas to be interested in that helped me to kind of stay focused for a little bit longer, right? So I think these are important things for parents to kind of consider, and then also recognizing like when that medicine wears off, right? It's like it changes. And you were saying, Zach, this is the next part that I want to come back to is I think maybe you is like
Mhm.
I get confused about like what am I doing, or what's the assignment. And one of the things that I have found personally, and I had a tutor that did this with me, Zach. I had a tutor when I was taking medication when I was a kid, who drilled my assignment book. So I got very um, trained to write all of my assignments down. and specifically what class, which book, what page, what questions, when it was due, very, very, very precisely, and trained this kind of system in my brain that didn't want to do that. Right? It did not.
Because it was boring?
And scattered. It was distracted. It was hyperactive. It was inattentive. It wanted to go play basketball.
Oh,
Right?
wow,
It did
see?
not want to do it. And
Yeah.
so her name was Lois Hillman. God rest her soul. Thank you, Lois.
Aw.
Trained in me to focus at least to get these assignments down so that I could never not know what they were. And then
So
she helped me to complete them and learn how to use my brain in a way that teachers just didn't have time for during the day. During the
they
day, like the
don't.
teachers are
Yeah.
working with you, they're working with you, they're working with you. They don't have time,
Exactly.
right? It's not fair,
It's
right?
not
And
fair.
so I had this tutor that really helped me in her own way understand how my brain worked.
So if you can tell our viewers how just a little bit of what you learned to make it easier for you and give them that little bit of advice, what would you say?
I
How
will say. And I'm
yes.
curious to know what you're discovering too, right?
Mhm.
Did you hear her question?
Do you hear my
This
question?
is ADHD right here, guys.
That's totally ADHD. He
So
just
that's what it
zoned
looks
out.
like.
Yes.
So the question is, like, want to ask the question again?
Yes. So my ADHD is gonna kick in right now to know. So
ADHD times two, right? I promise it's not scripted. I promise. I promise it's not scripted.
no,
I
that's so
promise it's
funny.
not scripted.
Right?
Promise.
Dun dun dun.
All right, so I'm just gonna take
Yeah.
it away. So the question you asked me is, what did I do?
Yes. What did
How
you
did I
do? How?
learn
How
that?
did she help you learn and you focus, to do what you had to do? Like,
So here's what really worked.
okay.
Okay, this is a great question, and this is my answer.
Yes.
Is I had a mom and dad who believed in me. My parents were certain that I could do it, and they never wavered. They never wavered. They're always like, "This is something that you can do," and they were very loving about it, without bullshitting me. Though they didn't sugar me, they were comforting and honest, and that was a big part of it. And then I think sports is really important. It was very important for me to have a sport that I was good at, and here's why: because I was not confident in my academics. I thought for a long time I was dummy dum 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 dum, big dummy
Mhm.
dum dum over here. And sports was something that I was good at, and it was a place that I had confidence. And so I could kind of say, okay, I'm confident at least at this. Maybe I could do better at school stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And kids were mean. I had some kids who were like, "You're gonna be a garbage man. You're an idiot." And
So you got teased. So
yeah, I
we're
got I
just
got
gonna.
teased for my ADHD.
Ah.
Okay, so I played sports, and that gave me confidence.
Mhm.
And then I had Lois Hillman who drilled these assignment books, right? More than actually teaching me how to write sentences or write essays or solve math problems. She was drilling, you need to record the assignment, you need to listen to what the assignment
Mm.
is. And she got very
Detailed.
detailed into one thing.
Wow.
Right. And so instead of having me do all this stuff, she's like, you're just going to do one thing and you're going to do
Mhm.
it really, really good
Hmm.
so that when you're with me,
Mhm.
I know exactly what you're supposed to do.
What do you think about that? Is you
So
think
that was really important.
yes.
And then it was this, right? Like I wanted to move around. I wanted to go to the bathroom. I wanted to get a snack. I wanted to
Fidgeting.
get a drink of water. Right. And I had all these like excuses.
Mhm.
And they were excuses. Like my body really did want to move around,
Mhm.
but they also were excuses.
Mhm.
Both.
Yes.
And I eventually had to come to grips with you're just making excuses. You're just
Ah.
you're
At what
just
age did you come to
I
that
bet you I
conclusion?
was maybe in high school. I don't
Okay.
I don't think I was mature enough when I was in sixth, seventh, eighth grade. I think I was too immature. But somewhere in high school, I think I got mature enough to understand you're just figuring out ways to avoid. And so then once I was like, okay, you can't avoid. You're gonna have to. These are your grades, man. This is your teacher. This is if you want to play basketball and you gotta make a GPA. If you don't want like your dad like breathing down your neck, you're gonna have to do
Mhm.
this stuff.
Now.
Right? And so that somewhere in there, I made a decision. I
Mhm.
think that maybe the big thing
Oh,
for the parents, and
yeah.
I don't know how you compel this in your kid is they have to make a decision that they're going to own their ADHD. They're going to really own that they have this, and work with it.
And that's something that's really hard.
It's hard.
It's super
I
hard.
didn't want to do that.
You no, because who wants to admit, first of all, right? Especially when we're younger, we don't want that's the last thing we want to do.
Yeah,
You know?
it's kind of like alcoholism. Like it's hard until you really say, "I own my alcoholism." Right? This is a
Correct.
problem for me.
Yes.
Then I'm dead in the water. Right? Until I
Exactly.
say, "Okay, I have this problem,"
So,
then you can improve.
and my question too is when you were going through all this with your ADHD, at any time, did you ever get bullied for this? Did you ever get ridiculed for any of it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, how was that?
It was not cool.
No. I
So
mean,
what happened was, I think the main thing it really happened. I was in a private school
mhm,
in junior high,
mhm,
and they were pretty high performing, smart kids,
mhm,
and I was falling behind in the subjects because I just learned more slowly. Kind of like what Zach was saying
mhm.
earlier. I was learning more slowly, and I wasn't keeping up, and so it made me look less intelligent than my peers, and then they got made fun of.
Mm.
So I got called a garbage man. I got called like you're gonna be homeless or you're just kind of dumb. Like
And
I,
look at him now, you little brats, for bullying him. Look now,
I'm
see?
sure they're doing great too.
No, they're
I'm
not
sure
going
they're
to do as
doing
good
great.
as you are.
Yeah. I figured out
Watch.
my way though. I
Yeah.
figured out my way. I was bullied for other things as well, but I did get bullied for ADHD.
How about
You
you,
ever have
Chance?
that?
Do you ever had that
Ever
going on?
get teased for ADHD?
Only by my uncle, but otherwise, I just got bullied. Just
Like,
bullied.
can you explain your
But not for
bullying?
ADHD, for something
No,
else.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was just like one time I had a friend in seventh grade, and like, we were like in like
Yeah,
what are they
speak
called?
louder.
Like the changing or the locker rooms, wherever you
Locker room,
change into
changing room.
the locker rooms. Some kid named Hayden just like went up to him, grabbed him, and like pushed him up against the locker. So he came out and he's like, Zach, like, you know who Hayden is? I'm like, no. I was like, it was this kid. He like pushed me up against the locker and tried to press me. So I was mad. So I like went up to him. I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, oh, I'm just messing around. I'm like, no, don't mess around like that because I might like we're gonna end up getting hurt.
Mm.
So he took it as a joke and he like came up behind me and put me in a chokehold. So my friend Finn, he started grabbing him and like throwing him off of me. That's the first time I encountered that kid. And there's this like girl in PE class, like when we line up, you were playing like softball with those people in your line, and this girl wasn't in our line. We were hitting and pitching, and she came out of nowhere like, "Oh, it's my turn."
A
And
girl tried to bully you?
no, she
Oh.
just went up and started like, "Oh," because she wanted to hit. She was
Mhm.
just being impatient and stuff. Um, he came up, put me in a chokehold. He just like wouldn't let go. So I just let him do his thing. He like just started beating me up, pushed me on the ground. He kicked me. He got tired, so I got up. It it looked bad, but it did not hurt at all. So I just got up. He was like exhausted, started like walking away. I don't know what's up with people, but they just walk away after they punch you.
Yeah, but that's not cool. Like, see, like stuff like that really makes me mad. Like, I want to
That's why I got up, chased him. I just punched him in the gut.
I mean, I don't know if I mean, is it the right thing or is it not the right thing? Like you want your
Violence.
child to protect themselves, right?
It's okay. Look, just like for sure, do not do that at all. Do I have regrets? No, but it's definitely not a good thing because you'll still end up like if you don't like dealing with stuff and like being talked to, definitely not. I did it because I knew I wouldn't get in trouble. I'm used to like going through stuff like that. So he hit me first. So
That's what I'm saying.
if
So
anything, I could
Zach,
have
do you
given him a
know
more.
why he chose to do that? Like, why? What was the bullying move, or like why what was he trying to do?
I don't know. I didn't act tough, and the thing is, I don't know how to fight or anything.
So he was just trying to act tough.
I'm not that strong. He knows actually how to box.
he's like, I'm not
Okay.
that strong.
He knows how to box. He's stronger than me.
So he chose you because he wanted to act tough.
And what's funny
Wait,
is
what a little wussy to pick on the Weakest
No,
link.
but
Well, that's what a lot of
what's
that's a lot of
funnier
what
is
bullying
he's
is, right?
stronger than
A
me,
lot of
and
what bullying
he's
is
stronger
that.
than me, and he knows how to fight. He still lost.
I bet you a belt on his ass would teach him a good lesson, little
No,
punker.
no,
I'm
it's
a,
no.
that makes
That's
me
Lou
mad.
letting loose.
To me, no,
I'm mad.
to me it's funny, but it's also sad because I still beat him up, and he's stronger than me. Like how? Like
I wasn't there to see it, but I believe you
As long as he
that
believes.
I,
there's something happened
I
there.
mean, I don't know. But then, like, and one time, this kid just like went up to me and he punched me in the eye. He's a fat kid. I'd expected it to be a harder hit. It did not hurt at all.
Why you, Zach? Do you know why the that person
He
went
just
after you?
hated me.
But do
Is
you know why?
Are they different individuals or the same
It's a
kid?
different
Uh-huh.
person. Just hated me.
But why do
But
they
why did they do? Why choose you versus somebody else? Do you have an
Cause
answer to
they want
that?
to act tough.
Because you don't act tough.
No, cause they want to act tough or seem cool.
Mhm.
but why
But
you?
why you? Why not go
Well,
after?
because that's the thing is like I'm not a popular kid, but I know a lot of people. So it's like I know popular kids, I know non-popular kids.
Mhm.
So I'm like I'm just known by a lot of people that are popular as well.
So you're not really sure. It sounds like,
Yeah.
right? You're not really sure why they chose you.
So, like, do you have like an indication when they come at you? Like, do you already have a sense of feel of what they're gonna do or say or?
Like when he punched me in the eye, like I had my back turned. I was like just talking to my friends. He's like, Zach. So I turned around, he just goes, bah. And I'm just standing there like as if I just did not take a hit.
That's crazy that these kids just feel
Like
so.
he went full on force. I saw him. He went back. He went bah. I'm just standing there like I just took the hit. And he's like, he just turns around like he's all cool, walks away. I'm like, no, where you going? You hitted me. It's my turn.
These kids. And it's sad that this goes on in schools, right? Like,
Yeah, I think it's certainly sad that it happens, and it's been happening from the beginning. I don't really think it's that new. I think
no.
that
No,
there's
but
something that happens where people are finding their place in the social hierarchy, and they find who's where they're at, like who's on the top, who's in the middle, who's in the kind of the below positions.
like there's this kid in my science class today. I didn't like really like. He's
Mhm.
just annoying.
Mm.
Um, it's like he's like me, but he acts like he's all popular and stuff and tough, right? So I
So you
remember
think
he
he
was
has
like,
ADHD?
no, he was
Okay.
like, like PE trying to like punk me, like, you weak, you can't do anything. So I just grabbed his finger. It's something I started doing because of this kid, Bronson. He was like always touching my Chromebook and like turning it off. So I just
Mm.
grabbed his finger and turned it. But he was like, the other kid, he's pushing me in PE, acting all tough.
What
So
did the school say?
I don't say
The
anything because it
teachers?
doesn't go out. It doesn't get out.
The teachers don't I mean, what are the teachers doing at that
Yeah,
time?
that's why I do that little like finger
Teachers are
thing.
pretty permissive.
No,
I
no,
as like
that's why I do the finger thing
as
because
a
you can't
therapist.
really tell what's going on. And then you're also like, he was bothering me and like pushing me, is like physical touch. So I had every right to do it back. So I just grabbed his thumb and I just started turning it back slowly.
See, but what kills me is that something like he should not have to go through that.
No,
Like he should not. Like for him to wake up every morning and have to go to school to wonder or feel is this kid going to mess with me today is fucking
no, I
bullshit.
don't.
And that bothers me
I
that
don't.
the schools one allow it and two more the teachers. And three like it's har and I get it as a kid, you don't wanna run to your parent and tell them, but, like, I don't know, like,
Look, I'm gonna just say this: the thing that went on with the kid Hayden in PE after I socked him, I don't know what would have happened after that if if my PE teacher did not sprint towards us and literally stop me because I was about to throw the most insane amount of punches towards Hayden after I got back up.
But
Cause like
see,
I got back up, I punched him. He went on the ground. I hit him again in the head.
but
I
you
was about
shouldn't
to.
have to be fighting like that. Like,
I shouldn't.
you shouldn't.
I, I
No,
didn't.
yeah.
I didn't like it.
Now, did your mom know about this?
Oh, yes. My
Ugh.
dad too.
Mm.
On another night, I'd like to really hone in more on this subject. I know we're kind of talking more about
Rest.
ADHD tonight,
Yes.
and I see that we could take a little right hand turn from where ADHD
ADHD
can be
too.
teased. You can get
Yes.
bullied for that, and then now we're onto this
Yes.
other
This
area.
all
But
started
I'd like
from
I'd
ADHD.
like to kind of revisit. This is a great
Absolutely.
subject
It
for just
is
to
a
talk
great
about
subject.
bullying, just all in one
It's a
big
bad thing. It's
podcast.
a bad
But
thing.
I did want to ask you real quick, just one last thing about ADHD and the bullying. You said that your uncle did tease you for that. Can you share a little bit about that if you're open to it?
You would just go around just like school and like, oh, Zach has ADHD. It's a disease. He's weird. It just bothered me because it was hard for me to make friends because of what he says and how much people believed him.
Mm,
So middle school started. At the time I was in sixth grade, that's when COVID started. So we were at, well, it started around like the end of fifth grade. So between that, so didn't like really have the experience anymore, just staying at home. Seventh grade, they allowed us to go back with wearing masks. And then that's when I really just started making friends.
Mhm.
Like the kid, Kel that comes over.
Mhm.
I met him before too. I
Mhm.
first day of school, seventh grade. I just sat right next to him.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something that's really hard because, when everything happened in 2019, that really affected children. Some good, some bad, right?
Can I put something out there though?
Yes, go ahead. Nice and
Um,
loud, please.
some people who might have trouble making friends as well. I don't know if I'm that many people. It's just like one thing I learned is sometimes you'll have friends
Mhm.
and then they'll end up like either becoming popular or they just forget you. So like sometimes your friends become your enemies and your enemies become your friends because that's
Mhm.
what happened to me.
Mm. Okay. What are you shaking your head there, Solomon? What are you thinking of all this?
Oh, I was just listening because it. Let me find a camera here. Because it went the conversation's gone a few different directions. I think we
Yeah.
started with, really
ADHD.
talking about the ADHD. I was more curious with Zach to know what you felt like when you weren't on your medication. I know you mentioned the fact that you said you were uncomfortable,
Mm.
and so like what does that mean? So if you're not taking medication and you're in a room, like are you sitting still? Are you moving around? Are you jumping up and down? Would it help if you went out and got exercise? Would that make you feel better, or would it make you feel more hyper? And then, what were some of the negative effects of the medication in your opinion? And did you try different medications before you found one that you felt worked best for you? And then for Steve, I had a question more along the lines of, it seems like in talking about ADHD, it's only been the last maybe 15 years that we've really actually focused on it.
Mhm.
What were people doing before then? Was it around then? Was it misdiagnosed? What are some of the effects of people who grew up without medication? Who are those people today? And then also, does ADHD present itself later in life? For instance, as we get older, we sort of, naturally lose the ability to focus for as many hours as we used to. Is that a condition of ADHD, or is that more like old age? So that's where my brain was, and so you guys can sort of answer those if you like.
those are great questions.
Absolutely
Zach, do you
excellent.
want to go first and tackle some of that, or you want me to go?
I'll go first. Um, like when I'm off the medication,
Yeah, totally off.
I love to skate because it's something I enjoy. I got it from my uncle, my dad's brother, because he started like really young. So, like to me, he's kind of an idol on like just like what you do. You have to love what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. If you love what you're doing, just keep doing it. Don't stop. And that's the mentality I've kept myself. Like, don't let like just because I have ADHD, that I just don't give up.
That's a
That's
good,
I kept
yeah.
that with myself for a really long time. It started with video games, but it just went on towards my life. Just don't give up, because if you do, like many people have heard it, but it's true. You'll regret it. You'll look back and then you're like, dang, like I messed up, and there's no way of like going back and fixing it. And that's how I see
You can't take time back. So I know that you mentioned like his when he's off medication. So I'm gonna do this little experiment so you guys could get an idea of a tick that occurs when he's off.
Oh,
So when I go shh, he usually goes shh.
shh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I go,
does that.
shh.
Shh,
It's
shh, shh,
stop, stop.
shh,
Just
shh.
shh.
You see that?
I'm about
Did you
to
see
turn
that,
into my
Solomon?
first grade.
Shh.
I'm gonna turn into my first grade teacher. Shh, waterfall. Shh.
So at home, he goes around like shh, 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 and he can't stop.
Shh.
And so then it becomes annoying to us all, right? Because we're talking, he's out, shh, and we're like, oh,
Shh.
you shush, you know? And
Shh.
so, yeah, see? That's exactly what he does. And before, on his medication, he used to pinch like right in the center of his
Oh,
chest.
big pop. It's just like guys have a pinching problem, and I would pinch other people, which
Oh,
really
yeah.
made me look bad. But
Yeah,
I
one of
was
them
like,
being your uncle.
do
That's
it,
why you.
do it yourself. So like just
Yeah,
hold it
because
in. So I'd go. I just grab myself and I just start
so
squeezing it
we
like.
got so tired of him pinching little Tui, pinching himself, pinching his mom, or I like he would just like grasp and he's like,
Oh
ah.
yeah, even with my nails cut.
Yes.
You
And so we would be like, stop. We're like, pinch yourself and feel that pain.
So I
So
would,
he would.
and it I don't get how it's. I mean, it didn't hurt me really.
I mean, it did. I mean, he actually, you
It's
probably
just
still have
it's actually
scars.
dryness that just started really happening because I'd curl my skin and it all get dry and
Yeah, it
stuff.
was horrible.
So
But
what
those,
I'm gathering is you're saying that when you weren't on medication, you just were doing just lots of different things, sort of a little bit aimless, and some of the stuff that you did, not able to focus on any one thing. Um, it sounds like your your grandmother's saying you were annoying.
Nani, please.
Yeah, Nani?
Yeah, she doesn't like to feel old.
Okay.
I'm not old,
All
okay?
right. So did he or did you guys try different medications where you found one that worked the best? And what were some of the negative effects?
Yes.
No,
Well,
we
he
kept the
took the
same
patch.
medication, so it's like
Well, you tried
one.
the
Hold
patch.
on, one thing is like when I first started taking it,
Mhm.
it was like a red medication, like like with the what is it called?
Oh, I'm not too
It's like the
familiar.
thing that they use to shoot you, but it's like bigger.
Oh,
It's for
yes. So
medication.
the first one wasn't liquid though.
It was
It
it
was? The
was
patch was
no.
first. Mhm,
It started when we used to live with my dad.
mhm.
Um,
Okay, so what about that one?
so I just used to like take it before I go to school, and then I somewhat liked it because of the taste, but not really. It was like a cherry kind of taste, so I didn't mind. And then like it went to pills, but pills that dissolve fast. So
Sure.
Not the patch.
my mom would no.
Mm.
No, but so like in the thing, it was just disgusting. I didn't know how to swallow pills, so it was hard for me to do that, and it would dissolve. So it soon as it hit my tongue, I wouldn't even have time to like swallow or anything, and it tasted so weird, and I just didn't like it.
So he developed this sense, like a sensory, to where he didn't like that taste or the feel, the
Oh,
texture.
oh, mm, kind of just with the pill. So my mom was like frustrated, like, "Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?" So she talked to my pediatrician and like gave me like this patch. It's like um, it's like a sticker, but you can't touch the sticky part because it's that's the part with the medication,
Right.
and you'd stick it on like the side of your hips, and it like
Absorbs through your skin.
it goes through your
Your
skin and your
bloodstream
blood, and it like starts to
releases.
work.
Mhm.
So how did
And
that feel? Was that good?
I did not like it because one, when I took it off, it leave a rash, and then when I shower, it burned, and and then the sticky parts that's around like the rectangular square part, that's the shape. It was like a rectangle,
Mhm.
so it was like sticky stuff that would be stuck. So I had to like, peeling it off, and it
We
was
would
so
find those all
annoying.
over the house. Like, you just rip them off and just leave them, and we're like,
So
"What?"
while it was on, did it make you calmer? Were you able to focus better? Did you
Mm, not really. It gave me a lot of headaches, and
give you a lot of headaches?
it's the
Okay.
reason why I'm actually skinny again, because I didn't really eat a lot.
Okay.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so
Um,
whatever you're doing now, do you feel like that's better for you?
Kind of because I have more control. It's
More
just the
control.
headaches.
And did you ever feel like some people say when they have the medication, it makes them feel like cloudy in the head, like they can't be creative, they can't express themselves. They just feel like really dull. Did you feel that? Was it a negative for you or was
Yes, like
okay.
nothing just really went through my head besides just wanting to get out of school and just going through like all the classes.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering those. So, Steve, your turn.
Got it.
Yeah, so kind of some of the history is they used to call ADHD ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, right? So that term probably goes back to maybe the 1980s,
Right.
So and the definition and understanding has evolved, and it's an interesting territory. I mean, I think I would like to believe that there's maybe it doesn't even exist, right? And this isn't my area of mental health where I would say I have like all these certifications and extra training because I don't. Um, what I would like, from what I understand, there's data that really does show it's a different type of brain. But what I think is really real is that like human beings are designed to move and they're designed to like use their body and be moving around, and that like to ask somebody, particularly a boy, to sit still that long is just a tall order. So I think that like a lot of this could be resolved simply by motion. And then I do think there's misdiagnosis, particularly anxiety, and I think that happened to me
Mhm.
in some regard. I think that I grew up in a dysfunctional family of sorts, right? Everybody has like their own kind of variety of dysfunction, and I think it caused me a lot of anxiety. And what I see with a lot of kids is that they're anxious about something, and so it causes them distraction, and then a misdiagnosis. This kid's unable to focus when really like the kid's like, well, I'm not focusing on math because there's this other thing that's going on in my life that has my attention,
Mhm.
and then they're kind of gravitating to that. And so I think there is misdiagnosis. Um, the best I've seen for treatment, I think, are what we've already said. I think family support is really important. I think medication can be a very good intervention that helps. And I think that
May I
exercise is important.
may I add something? I feel that the schools really need to pay more attention to the children because I feel that the percentage in children has become larger than it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, and I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, like you see that with things like where mental retardation started to kind of now we're introducing a term like autism, and then
Mhm.
we're introducing a term like Asperger's, and then we're taking away the term Asperger's, and we're just saying spectrum. And
Spectrum
there's all these different like
terminologies.
terminologies and kind of fad diagnoses that just didn't exist
Totally.
before.
Exactly. And I feel like
And
these
people have
fads,
theories about that. It's food, it's the telephone wires, it's the
cell
government,
phones, the
it was always
towers.
there. We didn't know what it was. And I don't know. I consider them to be new, certainly newer issues, Solomon. Like you're saying, like they're kind of a newer phenomenon.
And it's like always like now there's like this sensory thing. It's like, oh no, it's a disability because they have sensory. It's like, oh my God, like, okay, so what is it now? It's like everything. If I touch you, oh my God, don't touch me. I freak out. I have anxiety. There's just so much going on. It's like, how did we grow up? How? I mean, we grew up okay,
Mhm.
and it's like, how do these kids, deal with all this nowadays? Like with your said, like if you take the pill, you know how you say that you gag because he'll gag in the morning, and it's
No.
you don't gag anymore.
What do you mean? I never did.
You didn't like taking the pill.
That's no,
What was it?
none. But
So when it
one, but you
dissolved.
weren't around when I did it. It was when we still lived with my dad.
Mm.
I don't know if it was for my ADHD or my kidneys, but it works for both.
Mm,
So it was like this white one that I took in the. I keep forgetting what it's called.
yeah, that's okay. Well, that'll be
But
another subject.
we were at like a ramen spot and I had to take it. It was like nighttime. I hated it. It was like white. I did not like the taste at all. Disgusting. I just took it, almost gagged it out, went to the restroom, and that's just
So, a lot
Wow.
of people would say that's a sensory issue.
no. It was just gross. I did not like the taste of
Okay.
it.
But
Are these sensory
yeah.
issues? Anyway, I think this has been an interesting
It sure
conversation
has, right?
nonetheless.
I
And
think so
talking about
too.
ADHD, what is it, what it's like,
Hmm.
talking to somebody who has it right now, who's working his
Yes.
way through it.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you for being so honest and like sharing your experience with it.
I think that
Welcome.
was
Very, very cool of you.
it is. It's
Very
very
cool.
brave of you to do that.
Very
It's
cool of
so
you.
brave for you to come on and, let us know what your experience is, how you feel. If you could give any parent out there any advice with their child with ADHD or ADD, what would it be?
Patience, for sure. Like no matter how hard it is, coming from someone with it, because it's like a battle with yourself if you have ADHD. Because you're trying to be normal, you're trying to control it. That way you just have full control. That way you don't have to worry about it. Um, let your kids express how they feel. Big thing. They have trouble understanding things. Try to help them understand them. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Let them express themselves. Be patient.
Yes.
That's great advice, Zach.
That's
Thank
some
you.
great advice. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks,
I have
Chunks.
one last question, really. Do
Oh,
you feel like your ADHD will hinder you from accomplishing anything you want to accomplish in life?
No, I've played 4 sports, 3 because I didn't continue baseball. I know how to draw, and I can play at least 3 instruments so far. So
Good.
and
it's
he's actually
actually
really good with
it's
instruments.
actually like really good thing because with ADHD people, I've said earlier, if you like something, you'll really focus on that thing, even if you
Great.
have ADHD,
Mhm.
and you'll put all your attention to it until you're probably good at that thing.
Mhm. Which is true because he does play the guitar well, the piano, and what else? I think that's it.
Uh, well, acoustic guitar, electric,
Yes, but
clarinet,
he does really good.
piano. I draw
And
Well, that's
skates.
a great answer. Thank you. I think people
yes.
want to hear that.
All righty. Well, guys, thank you so much for viewing. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Zach, because he's very brave to come up here and explain and express
Yeah,
what he goes through. Thank you.
was shaking in my boots before I came in here.
Were you?
Yeah, I was shaking.
What a great show.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Thank
let's
you.
leave it there, Lou.
Yep.
What a great night.
Thank you,
So that's what we
guys.
have for an ADHD. I'll let you
Yep.
close us out.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you like, share, and what?
Subscribe.
That's right. Who are you subscribing with?
Let loose with Lou.
That's right. Yeah.
Let
Best.
loose with
The
Good night,
best.
guys.
Good night. Bye. Thank you. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and listening. It truly means the world to me. If you enjoy the show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe at Let Loose with Lou on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.